Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News. It's episode 114 on this Thursday, February 1st, 2024. And it's the first day of the new month, the second month of 2024. And I hope you had a fantastic January. You got through the first month in the new year. You laid the guidelines and the rules down, and now you can move forward to see how you are in control of this year, not everybody else. You control yourself. Nobody else does. So I control myself. I take care of myself. You take care of you. And we all take care of each other, looking out for everybody else. In the meantime, we're here today for more great articles. I hope you enjoyed Wipe Those Tears yesterday because it was a fantastic show. I want to thank everybody, including Scott McVeigh, for accepting the invitation, joining us as the fourth panel member. Of course, my Tier Masters, Gianni Pizzi, Brandon Bogard, and of course Mark Leota were all there. We got halfway through the G's last night in the 2-hour show. We still have more to cover. It's going to be a long haul. We're halfway through the alphabet. We're almost done with the NES games, so be patient with us. It's an enjoyable 2 hours, so stay tuned. It's going to be a continuous thing until we get it done. In the meantime, we hope that you'll continue to support the show, and don't forget to watch the award show that is tomorrow. Definitely at 8 o'clock, the Chillin' 3000 Hangouts Awards at 8 o'clock Eastern on the David 3000 Network. Well, today on our program on this February 1st, 2024, I, of course, am your host, Jason DeCanio, ready to go. And we're ready for our first articles of today. The first one is the 25 interesting Black History Month facts you may not know. Yes, today, as I mentioned yesterday, starting today and all through the month of February, we're going to look at least 1 to 3 or, a combination of some articles that have to deal with Black history, some facts you might want to know. There's 25 interesting ones. We'll take a couple at a time all of this week and, of course, into next week when we finish it. So that way you can understand why we celebrate this whole entire month. Some say, maybe it should be all year. Well, speaking of that, the next article is somebody who wrote the article says, I think Black History Month should last all year. That's right. We shouldn't just be celebrating it in February. It should be every day of our lives that we should be able to honor and respect those African Americans, those Black Americans who, through historic turns of events, put their lives on the line for us, gave us some of the freedoms, and made us look a little bit differently about it, and told us, hey, you don't have to hate us. You can love us. What is there to dislike about us that you don't like? I can't think of anything, unless, of course, you commit a crime, but that has nothing to do with your color nor your race. You commit a crime, you break the law. I don't care what color, race, or creed you are. You break the law, you break the law. That's it. And don't play that race card crap with me because it doesn't fly, okay? I have neighbors next door who are the nicest of Black African-American people you'll ever meet. So how do you consider me a racist if I'm accepted and accepting to them next door, okay? So think about that before you decide to just go out there and hate somebody because of their color, race, or creed, okay? And then why Black History Month is more important than ever. We'll give you the reason about that toward the end of the program. Plus, of course, headlines, sports, and other important information. I believe David and Benjamin are going to be coming on about 5:15 to talk more about the awards program tomorrow. I think they made up a new batch of rules that they want to go over. So I might end at 5:15 if they want to come in and take over and then close up the show, and I'll just go backstage and do my thing. They're more than welcome to it because, of course, David can come in at any time, interrupt the program, and say, hey, I need to talk about this. He is the CEO of the channel. He can do what he pleases over me. He has, he's over me. I only answer to him, and there's very little things I have to complain about, and if I do, don't worry about it. It's mostly good things and suggestions. And, of course, what day is today? The motivation of the day as well from Ralph Marston. And like I said, the Chillin' 3000 Hangouts. They're every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But with the exception of tomorrow's award show, February 2nd, live at 8 p.m. Eastern on the David 3000 Network, we'll have that 2-hour program. Benjamin and David will be the hosts. I'm not there. I'm watching it to see if our show's won. If not, because I'm up for Rookie of the Year, and of course, DMS 3000 News and Wipe Those Tears are also up for awards as well. We thank you for your continued support, whether we win or lose, folks. This is all about having fun. We're all winners in this awards program. This is just to see who really reigns supreme over everybody. No, it's not reigning supreme, because it's not like the Academies or the Emmys. We all want everybody to feel like they are a loser. You guys are not losers at all. You're all winners. You all take the time. You're all committed, and your dedication and support is much appreciated. We thank you for your continued support. And of course, like I said, new episodes of Wipe Those Tears every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'll keep saying it. Join us. And if you'd like to be a panel member and make it officially a fifth panel member with me, myself included, as 6 of them, sure, come on. And if you want to be a replacer, to fill in for somebody, we appreciate that too. Because if one of our team masters has to take vacation, falls ill, or vice versa, or something happens, an emergency comes up, everybody can take the place of somebody else. It's a really good idea to do that. So think about it, check it out, and get back to us if you feel that you want to be part of Wipe Those Tears. Okay, let's go to the headlines, sports, and other important information first. As you know, it's NPR.com for the headlines for today, February 1st, 2024. A Tennessee lawmaker helped pass a strict abortion law, and he's now trying to loosen it. Republican State Senator Richard Briggs co-sponsored a Tennessee bill that would codify some of the country's most austere abortion restrictions. He says he never thought it would actually become law. Well, you see what happens? Think twice, my friend, before you decide to, loosen it up. The breast cancer burden in lower income countries is even worse than we thought. The World Health Organization has just released the latest worldwide statistics of the global burden of cancer. Here are 5 takeaways from WHO's top expert on cancer. February is Black History Month in the U.S., and this year's theme is African Americans and the Arts. We're compiling stories, music performances, and podcasts related to the Black experience. Plus, of course, we're going to be talking about that all this week as well. So, I got a smudge on my glasses here. Come on, what is this? I was out there in the yard hedging, and I guess one of the grass clippings got on my glasses. Anyways, no problem. Blind Spot Podcast offers a roadmap of social inequities during the AIDS crisis. Kai Wright's podcast revisits the early years of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, focusing in particular on populations that are frequently overlooked, including the pediatric patients at Harlem Hospital. Senator Tom Cotton repeatedly grills Singaporean TikTok CEO if he's a Chinese communist. TikTok faced scrutiny Wednesday along with other social media sites over child safety, but its Singaporean CEO was grilled over his nationality when a senator repeatedly asked whether he has CCP ties. I bet you this guy does have, and he just don't want to give anything away because he knows how much is he being paid under the table not to say anything. You know what gets me, folks? Look, we're on social media all the time, and I've been on Facebook since 2009. It's a 15-year run for myself. I truly am grateful for them not kicking me off. But at the same time, when I'm trying to report fake accounts and people pretending to be somebody else, and them and Zuckerberg decide that, oh no, their account doesn't go against community guidelines, that's a bunch of hogwash. And I keep saying, you need to clean up the accounts there, Zuckerberg, and whoever else on the social media platforms. You need to clean up the fake accounts, start holding people accountable to who they are really, because we're tired of these fake accounts coming in and thinking that they can just tell us how to live our lives and that we're wrong, dead wrong on every issue. And if we try to counteract them, they go narcissistically stupid. Yeah, it's narcissistically stupid. I think next week on the program, we're going to have a show again on narcissism and psychopaths and all that other stuff, because it needs to be addressed again, folks. And you better look out for the signs and the symptoms of it, because if you fall into those categories, you better get some help immediately. I'm no doctor. I don't diagnose it, but there are people out there that sure do act like it. And I'm getting sick and tired of encountering them. I'd like some normalcy around my life for a change. And if I have to exclude and really do some heavy interviewing, I will. Okay. Biden issues order targeting Israeli settlers who attack West Bank Palestinians. Yeah, right. President Biden's executive order issued Thursday names 4 people and will lay the groundwork for financial sanctions against Israeli settlers who carry out violent assaults. You know, come on, Biden. Really? What is this? Why are you really punishing the Israeli people? Come on. They're the ones who need to start, doing on their own, and you're in their way. Get out, and if you can't be a part of the solution, then you're a part of the problem. And we all know he's a part of the problem. And if you want to keep telling, oh, no, he didn't start the war, it's all Israel's fault, it's all the United States' fault, we are a hated nation, we are divided. Come on, people. Wake up and smell the coffee. You know that this puke is getting paid by the Chinese, by the Iranians, by the Russians. He's getting money under the table. You think he cares about the welfare and the well-being of the American people? No. And why in the heck would you vote for a puke like him that doesn't care about your well-being as an American? Think about it. If you want chaos, you want destruction, you want division, you don't want freedom, you don't want the good things of life, so you have opportunities to thrive and become successful in your time here on the earth, you don't want what the American freedom of patriotism is, then go to another country, man. Get out, okay? We don't want you. If you say I'm a diehard American, you believe in all that the American and the United States have given to you, and you stand by it strong. But if you're like, I want, no, and you don't get your way, and you whine and complain, look, man, I am not whining and I'm not complaining, okay? I am telling, the reason why I come here on this program every day and tell you these things is to make you aware that if you vote the wrong way, I'm not telling you how to vote, not trying to control your mind here, but if you vote the wrong way, the consequences of your vote, that's what happens, okay? We all get punished for voting the wrong way, and we all know it. And this 2024 election needs to be a landslide for Donald Trump and the Republicans. It needs to be a landslide victory to show the Democrats that we mean business. Once we get in there, we fix everything, go back to the way it was, and everything will be fine. And in time will heal all wounds, okay? Hallmark recasts Sense and Sensibility and debuts other Austin-inspired films. This month, the network debuts Luminary, a quartet of films inspired by the creativity and fandom of Regency-era novelist Jane Austen, including Sense and Sensibility, with a mostly black-led cast. Defense Secretary Austin says he didn't handle news of hospitalization right. The remarks cap a tumultuous few weeks for Austin after it emerged that he was hospitalized on New Year's Day and that no one knew for days that he had undergone surgery for prostate cancer. You know, that's irresponsibility on his part. Okay, you've got cancer treatment, you're going in for surgery. You need to take responsibility regardless if you're going in there. You needed to make some communicational effort, and that's irresponsibility on your part there, Secretary Austin. That is nobody else's fault. You needed to take responsibility. You had a staff of people working around you. Why didn't you go and tell the president you were going to be out for 5 weeks? How dare you? How dare you? Any one of you guys who's in politics in the higher up positions, you need to start speaking out. You know, because if you're not available to take care of the country, less your position, then somebody in your staff needs to step up and take your place so that there is coverage in those departments. I mean, come on. That's why they have cabinets. That's why they have administrations to do this. That's why they have a team of specific people to do the job. And if one falls short, if the head person of that team falls short, then it needs to go, then it needs to be brought. The next person in line needs to step up and say, hey, I'll take care of this until while you're out. And I'll let the president know this. No communication. That means the Democrats just have no communication amongst themselves. They want to go in silent and just leave it be. Yep. Another side effect from the war in Gaza, animals starving in its besieged zoos. Dr. Emil Khalil is attempting to coordinate a mission to rescue animals from the war-torn Gaza Strip, reaching hostages and prisoners through Israeli and Palestinian radio. An Israeli radio station is broadcasting messages and songs to hostages in Gaza, and a Palestinian station in the West Bank is broadcasting families' messages to relatives recently jailed in Israel. France's two key farmers' unions suspend protests after new offers from the government. Farmers have blocked highways for days across the country to denounce low wages, heavy regulation, and unfair competition from abroad. The union said the new measures represented tangible progress. European Union approves $54 billion aid for Ukraine as Hungary drops opposition. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has vetoed the aid package in December, but joined other EU members in approving it at a summit in Brussels. His vote came with conditions the EU did not disclose. And how mapping heat islands can help cities prepare for extreme heat. Oklahoma City and several other cities last year worked with the NOAA to map neighborhoods to find out how heat impacts neighborhoods. The data can help cities prepare and adapt to a warmer world. Need to track animals around the world? Tap into the Spider-Verse, scientists say. Spider webs can capture environmental DNA or eDNA from vertebrate animals in their area, potentially making them a useful tool in animal monitoring, tracking, and conservation. In Arizona, these young Native American voters seized their political power. Young voters and Native Americans voters are two groups that showed up for President Biden in the 2020 election, but ahead of his 2024 matchup, it's unclear if he'll be able to keep their support. And why Nevada has both a primary election and Republican caucus next week. The short answer for why the Nevada GOP is holding its own presidential caucus 2 days after the state-run primary election, Republicans don't like Nevada's new voting rules. 6 books to help young readers learn about Black history. 5 authors, librarians, and bookshop owners suggest turning to literature to help teach kids about Black history, culture, and themes for this Black History Month. The fighting over banning menthol cigarettes has a long history steeped in race. Black smokers make up menthol tobacco's largest market and have the highest rates of lung cancer. But the fight over banning menthol is a complex and divisive issue in the Black community. Rights group warns major car makers over risk of forced labor in China's supply chains. Automakers including Tesla, General Motors, Volkswagen, and Toyota are failing to ensure they are not using forced labor as part of their China supply chains, a report by Human Rights Watch says. Here's a James Baldwin shadow throwback on the through line, on the perspective. James Baldwin believed that America has been lying to itself since its founding. An insightful commentator on Black identity, American democracy, and racism, he saw something deep and ugly and stubborn in American culture, and never hesitated to call it by its name, to bear witness regardless of what it cost him. As the United States continued to reckon with all aspects of its history, writer and professor Eddie S. Glaude Jr. guides us through the meaning and purpose of James Baldwin's work and how his words can help us navigate our current moment. And there you have it, friends. Today's headlines for Thursday, February 1st, 2024. All right, let's go to the NBA and the games and sports. It was a rough one. And the Nets cannot put away the Phoenix Suns. And I also heard from the grapevine that Ben Simmons again is out with a contusion. Wow. Contusions. Oh, boy. Clippers beat the Wizards 125-109. It was the Cavaliers over the Pistons 128-121. Bulls beat the Hornets 117-110. Heat over the Kings 115-106. Pelicans 110. Rockets 99. Thunder 105. Nuggets 100. Magic over the Spurs 108-98. Timberwolves over the Mavericks 121-87. The Nets lose to the Suns 136-120. And the Trailblazers beat the Bucks by 3, 119-116. Tonight's games have the Pacers at the Knicks at 7:30, Lakers at Celtics at 7:30 is the tip-off, Cavaliers at Grizzlies at 8 o'clock, and the 76ers will take on the Jazz at 10 o'clock in Utah. Let's look at the NHL. All-Star weekend is happening, so there are no games right now. I can tell you that. And it's happened. Yep. So 3 games yesterday. Senators over the Red Wings 3-2 in the OT. Kings over the Predators 4-2 in the final. And the Ducks beat the Sharks in OT 3-2. All-Star weekend starts this Saturday, February 3rd. There are no games tonight or tomorrow or Sunday. Games resume on Monday, February 5th, and the rest of the league comes back on Tuesday, February 6th. And that's a look at sports. And like I said, the other important information that we're putting up there today, remember, tomorrow is the Chillin' 3000 Hangouts Awards ceremony at 8 o'clock, where David and Benjamin will be the host and co-host of the show. And it's a 2-hour program. We hope you will attend by tuning in and seeing if your favorite person or show has won an award. And I know I'm up for an award, and this program and Wipe Those Tears are also up and all up for awards as well, too. The bottom line is we're all winners in this, no losers at all. And we thank you for your continued support of the David 3000 Network and Rant and Rave, and, of course, MVG Productions and the 25 channel. When we come back, we'll look at what day is today, and then our first article, which is the 25 interesting Black History Month facts you may not know. We'll be back with more DMS 3000 News right after this.
Which of these leading soft drinks gives you nutrition with vitamin A?
You.
Vitamin B2?
You.
Vitamin C?
Yoo-hoo.
Vitamin D?
Yoo-hoo.
Niacin?
Yoo-hoo.
Calcium?
Yoo-hoo.
Potassium?
Yoo-hoo.
Which soft drink gives you all that, is 99% caffeine-free, and tastes delicious? Yoo-hoo. Great taste with nutrition. Yoo-hoo chocolate drink, another delicious product from Yoo-hoo.
Hey, kids.
All sugar-free gums help you fight cavities. But Extra is the only leading sugar-free gum with NutraSweet that helps fight cavities and gives you extra long-lasting flavor. The only one. Extra sugar-free gum. Among sugar-free gums, Extra is unsurpassed in fighting cavities. And Extra is the only leading sugar-free gum with NutraSweet. And the only one with refreshing flavor that lasts extra long. Extra sugar-free gum with NutraSweet. The only leading sugar-free gum that fights cavities and lasts extra long.
There's a place called Moody Hollow where the Furskins live, and now they've come to Wendy's for you to give. That's right, Furskins have come to Wendy's. Dudley Furskin and his country friends, each at a special low price. At Wendy's, that is.
Oh, no. Rodney's hungry. Do something. What would Mom do? A little snack. Something hot, crisp, fast. Here you go, Rod. A right-up microwave fries. Yum. And what do we do when you're finished? Eat slowly, Rodney.
I'm leaving. I'm going.
Guess there's no point baking Pillsbury's best cookies.
Oh, cookies?
Hot and fresh dough.
You'll never see me again.
So creamy smooth.
I mean it.
Your cookie dough. Oh, you're so chocolatey. Oh,
I miss my plane.
oh, hot and fresh dough.
And now look for my new chocolate chip cookies.
All right, today is National Dark Chocolate Day. It is February 1st. It's the first day of the second month of the new year, and we are really cooking off to a great start. Why not? National Dark Chocolate Day. You can't get any better than this, folks. If you are a lover of dark chocolate, you're going to love it even more. So if you're like us, you don't need a reason to celebrate dark chocolate, but it sure is sweet to have one. National Dark Chocolate Day on this February 1st is an opportunity exalt the health and happiness that dark chocolate brings and pay homage to the history and cultural significance surrounding this decadent treat. The timeline goes like this. Started in 350 with the Num. Yeah, chocolate was first used as a food in Mesoamerica, like we remember with hot chocolate a couple days ago. Bienvenidos, chocolate. It arrives in Europe, and this is in the 1600s, and sugar is added for the first time. Go to 1893, and empire begins. Milton S. Hershey first purchases chocolate processing equipment and starts Hershey Chocolates. And break me off a piece. Yep, the first instance of dark chocolate being found in bar form in 1910. So, you don't need an excuse to support one of your local chocolate shops, but on National Dark Chocolate Day, why not indulge on all the beautiful desserts in the case? And while even the most novice bakers can make something delicious with dark chocolate, it still offers seasoned bakers a chance to test their skills. Regardless of your skill level, try your hand at a babka, molten cake, or pan au chocolat. And even if it doesn't come out perfectly, just eat the evidence. And who needs 3 courses when dessert is clearly the best? Chocolate-themed restaurants are popping up in cities across the country, offering unique and creative uses for our favorite confection. Here's 5 facts about chocolate that you didn't know. Believed by the Aztecs to be a gift from Quetzalcoatl, the god of wisdom, chocolate was originally a fermented beverage that gave the drinker strength. Chocolate is derived from the Aztec language of Nahuatl word chocolate, which means bitter drink. And thanks to its high percentage of cocoa and lower amounts of sugar and milk, dark chocolate's health benefits have made it a potential superfood. And about 2/3 of cocoa in the world is produced in Western Africa, with the Ivory Coast being the largest source of the crop. And Americans consume about 2.8 billion pounds per year. That's over 11 pounds per person. So why do we love this National Dark Chocolate Day? Well, potassium, zinc, magnesium. Oh my! Dark chocolate contains vitamins and minerals that the body needs. It's also rich in powerful antioxidants called flavonoids that promote healthy circulation and prevents plaque formation in the arteries. Dark chocolate contains tryptophan, a phenylethylamine, laminin. Yeah, 2 chemicals known to tell your brain to release pleasure-causing endorphins. And this feeling of euphoria is often compared with the feeling of being in love. And finally, chocolate's low melting point makes it perfect for use in baking, and there are tons of ways to incorporate the sweet treat, whether you've got a panache or for ganache, a panache for ganache, there you go, or freak out for fudge, break out that double boiler and get melting. There you go. The next time we'll see it will not be until 2027 on a Monday. So 3 years from now, we will see it again on February 1st, National Dark Chocolate Dates. All right. Well, that brings us to our first article of the day. When we come back, we will look at the 25 interesting facts Black History Month you didn't know about. We'll not cover them all in this one show. We'll kind of spread it out over the course of a couple of days. We'll look at probably about 5 or 6 as time permits. And then someone thinks that Black History Month should last all year. And who knows? Maybe we should have it all year round. We celebrate it once a month, and there's not enough people in the Black community that has not been recognized of great importance. They all are important to our history, and we should honor them, like that person says, all year around, depending on when they were born, what their significant, talents were, and their knowledge of life and how they got about and did things. So maybe it's an all-year event to cover birthdays and special events for that reason. So we'll see what happens when we come back with more of DMS 3000 News right after this.
AIM innovates a special plaque-fighting toothbrush. Straight bristles and uniquely slanted bristles feel exhilarating while they help remove plaque. AIM's Plaque Fighter. Fighting plaque never felt so good.
Get your spaghetti ready. Get ready for Ragu Thick and Hearty Spaghetti Sauce. Our thickest, heartiest sauce ever. Now your spaghetti's ready. Ragu Thick and Hearty.
Thursday.
Let's see what's cooking on TV.
It's a belly full of laughs with Bugs Bunny's Thanksgiving Diet Special.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Then,
Just a turkey based a minute.
it's the superstar duck who's certainly no turkey. It's Daffy Duck's Thanks for Giving Special, all Thursday starting at 8, 7 Central and Mountain on CBS.
Triaminic asks the experts about the common cold.
A cold is miserable. I guess it's just part of growing up. You feel stuffy, you sneeze, and your eyes water, and you're coughing and sneezing, and your chest hurts. My mom is good to me, and she gives me Triaminic and everything.
Triaminic cough and cold medicines. What more pediatricians recommend. What moms trust. Shouldn't you?
You're just so happy that the cold is over, you just smile.
Puff a lump a little closer, baby mine. Puff a lump and be my little clinging vine. Like to feel your cheeks so rosy. Puff a lump, you're comfy, cozy. 'Cause I love from head to toesy. The Puff-a-Lumps, lovable lumps of snuggly stuff. Puff a lump, mine. Only from Fisher-Price.
25 interesting Black History Month facts you may not know of. In honor of Black History Month, here are some of the facts about this fantastic month of historic America that even history buffs may not know. Yes. First off, there is, each February, the United States observes Black History Month, a month-long celebration that honors the contributions made by Black Americans. And during this time, people support Black-owned businesses, share powerful Black History Month quotes, and research Black History Month facts to educate themselves on groundbreaking people, places, and events. We may understand what Black History Month is about, but how much do we really know about this annual event and those it honors? From the historian who established it to the different themes each year, here are some Black History Month facts along with little-known Black history facts your schools might have left out. First up, a historian helped establish Black History Month. Yeah, here's a Black American you may not have learned about in school. Historian Carter G. Woodson, the creator of what we presently know as Black History Month, worked passionately to establish the event in an effort to provide an education on the origins, struggles, and achievements of African Americans in United States history. Originally, it existed as 7 days of commemoration, first established in 1926 and called Negro History Week. Then Woodson penned more than a dozen books, including 1933's The Miseducation of the Negro. And then Black History Month has been nationally recognized since 1976. And despite its forerunner, Negro History Week, originating all the way back in 1926, Black History Month as we know it today didn't become nationally recognized until the 70s. Black students and educators at Kent State first celebrated Black History Month in January and February of 1970, and other educational institutions started following suit. And for the United States bicentennial, President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month, as has every president since. Next up, Black History Month has a different theme each year. Since its official inception in 1976, Black History Month has grown to become an event celebrated by cultural institutions such as theaters, libraries, and museums, as well as by corporations like Google and Target. But did you know it has a different theme each year? And each year, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, or the ASALH, chooses a theme around which to center their Black History Month celebrations. The theme for 2024 is African Americans and the Arts, acknowledging creatives from Black poets and writers to visual artists and dancers, and for their fight against oppression through their craft. Next up, Black History Month is observed during different months around the world. Yes, this may be one of those Black History Month facts that's new to you. The United States, Canada, and Germany observe Black History Month in February. However, in the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands, they honor it during the month of October. Still, not too far apart from each other, but by a separation of 8 months. And on February 12th of 2024, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, will celebrate its 115th birthday. The date of February 12th, 1909 was chosen for the NAACP's inception because it also marked the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln and coincided with abolitionist Frederick Douglass's birthday on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. As one of the most interesting Black history facts, the NAACP is America's oldest civil rights organization as well as its largest. Wow. Fort Most is an important town in Black history. Of all the cities you learned about in school that no longer exist, Fort Most, pronounced Mose actually, Fort Mose is one of the most important. And here's one of the little-known Black history facts. More than 250 years ago, when people who had escaped their enslavement made their way to St. Augustine, Florida, they were welcomed by the Spanish, who valued their skills and contributions. In 1738, the governor rewarded them by establishing the town that went on to become known as Fort Mose. It was the first officially sanctioned town for freed Black men in what is now the United States, with a population of about 100. In 1763, the fort was ceded to the British under the Treaty of Paris, and the free Black residents were evacuated to Cuba with the Spanish. The British then destroyed the site during the War of 1812. Today it is a historic state park, making it one of the wonderful American landmarks that celebrates Black culture. The first state to abolish slavery was in New England. Considering President Abraham Lincoln hailed from Illinois and was the president who would eventually abolish slavery, you might expect that the first state to do away with the practice was his Midwestern state of origin. However, it was Vermont that led the way in 1777. The practice of vaccination in America has interesting roots. An enslaved person by the name of Onesimus, brought to the Massachusetts colony, told church minister Cotton Mather about the way inoculations were practiced in Africa for centuries to prevent people from getting sick. Mather took this information to Dr. Zabdiel Boylston when smallpox became a severe issue in Boston in 1721, and reports History.com that Boylston inoculated more than 240 people despite a large opposition to the practice. And here's an interesting story, one that's about James McCune Smith, who was the first African-American doctor. James McCune Smith was the first African-American to hold a medical degree and the first African-American to run a pharmacy. Because no American university was willing to admit him, he was forced to travel to Scotland to earn his degree from the University of Glasgow. After graduating in 1837, he practiced medicine for nearly 2 decades at the Colored Orphan Asylum in Manhattan and contributed papers to scholarly journals and was widely respected as an intellectual. He was an abolitionist who helped enslaved people escape and find their way to freedom via the Underground Railroad. Despite his accomplishments, Smith was never admitted into the American Medical Association. Wow. The first public high school for African Americans opened in 1870. The first public high school for African Americans, Paul Laurence Dunbar High, opened in Washington, D.C. and in 1870, just 5 years after the end of the Civil War. Named after Dunbar, the acclaimed Black writer, the school graduated many luminaries, including the first Black Army general, the first Black presidential cabinet member, and the first Black graduate of the Naval Academy. Many high schools, including Dunbar Vocational High School in Chicago, pictured above, have also adopted Dunbar's name. Interesting. Let's look at that. Wow. Whew. What a school for everybody to go to. Okay. Black men had a strong presence in the Wild West. You'd be hard-pressed to find much diversity in old-time Western films. However, according to Smithsonian Magazine, 1 in 4 cowboys was black. In fact, it's believed that the fictional character of the Lone Ranger was based on Bass Reeves. Reeves was born into slavery, but he fled westward during the Civil War, and in time, he became a deputy U.S. Marshal. George Edwin Taylor ran for president in 1904. Long before Barack Obama became the first black president of the United States, George Edwin Taylor ran for president in 1904 as a member of the National Negro Liberty Party. And though the journalist and newspaper editor received only 2,000 votes, Taylor deserves to be remembered for his groundbreaking political run. And finally, Jackie Robinson broke baseball barriers. On April 15, 1947, the legendary Jackie Robinson played in his first game as one of the Brooklyn Dodgers. During his first season in the major leagues, he led the National League with the most stolen bases and then was honored as Rookie of the Year. Despite his talent and skill, Robertson faced adversity from fans and colleagues, and he later became an outspoken member of the civil rights movement for black equality. And we're going to stop there and pick up tomorrow and look at some more fantastical facts, leaving off with Charlotte Bass, who paved the way for Kamala Harris. Charlotta Bass, actually. So we'll be looking at that image of her and more facts on the rest of Black History Month in this particular article, which we'll finish up on tomorrow's program. Okay, when we come back, we'll have our second article of the day, which is the person who wrote this thinks that Black History Month should last all year. We will return with more of DMS 3000 News right after this.
All right, boys. No smiling. Look fierce. Hold still.
Next, it's the exciting conclusion of the Gambler 3. The final showdown between the cavalry, the Indians, and the man who became a legend.
Sorry, Billy. Brady, no.
Linda Gray, Bruce Boxleitner, and Kenny Rogers. Gambler 3, next.
Thursday from New York, Hawaii, Detroit, and Toronto. Join your favorite CBS stars for the 28th Annual All-American Thanksgiving Day Parade.
She was alone and lost in the world.
Your parents are dead.
She's a difficult child, Mrs. Medley.
But he had the magic to touch her heart.
Sometimes wishing makes things happen.
And together, they brought a young boy the gift of love and the will to live. Hallmark Hall of Fame presents a Christmas gift for the whole family. The Secret Garden.
Apple Christmas from Computer Connections. You know what they want, and now you know where to get it. So what does it take? An apple to fall on you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Dionne Warwick.
Spring in your step and makes things lots of fun.
It's that little lift from Wrigley Spearmint Gum. It's that little lift. Come on and get you some.
That clean, fresh taste Wrigley Spearmint's got. That little lift that means a lot.
It's that little lift from Wrigley Spearmint Gum.
Power Wheels Raider, Power Wheels High Rider, Power Wheels Classic Convertible, each sold separately, all battery powered with real motors.
And its own power motor makes it go, go, go. Power Wheels. Power Wheels. Power makes it go.
Your parents assemble them easily, then off you go over the hills, around the trees.
Power Wheels. Power makes it go.
Power Wheels Classic Convertible, Raider, and High Rider all run on rechargeable batteries, each sold separately.
With the fun shape of honeycomb, you never know what you'll imagine. If you're eagle-eyed, you can watch them glide while you're mortified.
Honeycomb! Yeah.
With some concentration, you're a big sensation with this crisp creation.
Honeycomb!
When you improvise, you can harmonize what you appetize.
Honeycomb!
So when you use your brain, you'll be entertained. Honeycomb cereal, part of this complete breakfast. Sweet, crunchy, and more fun than you ever imagined.
Sunday, over 30 of your favorite stars dare to become circus performers. Astonishing feats, magic, comedy, and special guest star Burt Lancaster. The all-new Circus of the Stars.
When we know about Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King Jr., of course, but our American history lessons skip over so many other African American achievers. So Don Porter thinks that Black History Month should last all year. And maybe I agree in some way, which is a good thing to think about it, considering the fact that a lot of in the days of only 28 to 29 days in the month of February, that's a lot of people to cover. And we'll try to cover as many of those people and achievements throughout this entire month for you here on DMS 3000 News. Dawn Porter writes this article from last month, so let's look at it some more. My feelings about Black History Month are complicated. On the one hand, I deeply appreciate the time to intentionally celebrate the brilliant contributions to American culture and history by people who look like me. But while absolutely worthy of celebration, the stories of African American contributions to our society have become repetitive over the years. Harriet Tubman was so brave. Martin Luther King Jr. was the best orator of all time. George Washington Carver, sure, was a whiz with peanuts. Year after year, I hear a dutiful recitation of the same familiar facts, and I fear that the result is the mistaken impression that this is the sum total of African Americans' role in our history. Confining the history of an entire race of people to a 28-day period not only diminishes the significance of their contributions, but also allows the greater truth to be erased. When I ask my African American friends about this, I often hear some version of, I'd rather have 1 month than no months. But is that the only choice? Black History Month traces its origins back to 1926, when the Association for the Study of African American Life and History designated a week in February, chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln on February 12th and Frederick Douglass on February 14th, as what was then called Negro History Week. The creation of that week was an important historical marker. Its founder, Carter Woodson, an African American historian, intended for Black history to be taught as a part of American history and looked forward to the day when a designated period would no longer be needed at that time. Although it has been a half century since the abolition of abolition of slavery, Black people were still strenuously making the argument for their humanity. There is nothing so motivating as knowing that people who look like you achieved great things. I know this from experience. My grandmother's name before she married was Marion Robeson. She was the daughter of Benjamin Robeson, a minister and civil rights activist. Some will know his more famous brother, Paul Robeson, the scholar, activist, and entertainer remembered for his performance of Old Man River in Showboat. Their father, my great-great-grandfather, William Drew Robeson, was a slave in North Carolina, and he escaped to Philadelphia via the Underground Railroad. During the Civil War, he fought with the Union Army, and in 1876, this child of slavery graduated from Lincoln College with a degree in theology and then became a minister. My great-grandfather was one of his 7 children. Before she died, my grandmother shared with me her father's sermons. In them, my great-grandfather, also a veteran, spoke eloquently about his love for a country that opposed his civil rights efforts. I first read his moving writings when I was in law school, at a time when I began to let feelings of self-doubt creep into my consciousness. In this hyper-competitive world, I began to think that perhaps I wasn't quite as smart as I thought I wasn't quite as capable. Reading his words pushed me to think about how the full story of the accomplishments of Black people is so buried that we think of those we do celebrate as exceptional. Learned racism teaches us that there can't possibly be so much Black excellence that any accomplished Black person must be an outlier. And then I discovered Ida B. Wells. Orphaned as a teenager, she went on to become a journalist, a mother, and an activist. She worked alongside Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and pushed them to include Black women in the cause for suffrage. The story of the women's suffrage movement is absolutely incomplete without understanding the efforts of Wells and her Black compatriots. Full stop. Here are 15 facts you probably didn't know about Susan B. Anthony. Click on that, and it'll take you to that article. Reading her words made history so real for me, so painful, but also so celebratory. Today, as a documentary filmmaker, I think of her fearless crusade for truth often, and I'm motivated to continue to tell important stories. My most recent reminder of the power of story was my work directing a film about Representative John Lewis called Good Trouble. I spent a year interviewing him and traveling the country with him, watching hours of footage of a young Lewis strategizing and organizing, watching him deftly work with white and black activists and politicians. I lived history through his eyes and experiences. Walking through an airport with a congressman, I was constantly struck by the fact that he could not go more than a few feet without someone asking for a picture or to shake his hand. He always stopped and acknowledged and thanked the person. It was as if he sealed each interaction with an implicit understanding that every person he connected with would become an ambassador, and that when they tell the story of John Lewis, it will assure that history lives on even now after his passing. And because of my work and my interest and experiences, I am acutely aware of the need for accurate information in our media and our history books. Don't we need this information all year long? Use these 12 ways to celebrate Black History Month all year long. In 1976, the week that had been set aside to honor Black accomplishments was expanded to a month and called Black History Month. In the preceding 50 years, remarkable battles had been hard fought and won, including landmark Supreme Court cases that resulted in the 1954 decision in Brown versus Board of Education requiring the desegregation of public schools, the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and other civil rights laws guaranteeing basic rights of full citizenship to all people, regardless of race. So now, some 40 years later, it's time for Black history to enter the next phase. African Americans no longer need to argue that we deserve equal rights. With the establishment of the glorious National Museum of African American History and Culture on the National Mall in Washington, D.C., we no longer need to make the case that our contributions are worthy of noting and celebrating. But racism and discrimination on the basis of race continue to be a stain on our country. And only by telling true stories do we have a chance to eradicate not only racist behavior, but also racist thought. We have to face head on the untrue idea that only white people contribute substantially to our country's cultural, scientific, legal, and other advances. To dismantle this false narrative, the first place we should look is the story we tell about ourselves. I'm confident that given the opportunity, a host of scholars would gladly take a pen to outdate history books, break them apart, and add the rich context that includes the contributions of not only African Americans, but Native and Asian people, women, and every other marginalized group. History is not a pie. My having more does not leave you less. I'm a plus and a person. I think we need Black History Month. I also think we should challenge our educators and ourselves to consistently search out and share stories and facts that expand our understanding of history to include all who play a role in it. Acknowledging that America is a multicultural society and that the accomplishments and contributions of people who are not white are real, substantial, and important is proof that American ideals so many of us profess to value are real. I asked my friend, the noted historian and scholar, Henry Louis Gates Jr., his thoughts of this, to which he quickly replied, "Every day should be Black History Month." Yes, sir, every day. Next, read one woman's perspective on why Black History Month is more important than ever, which we'll get to in a little bit. Dawn Porter is a documentary filmmaker. Her film John Lewis Good Trouble is out now. And of course, she's a documentary filmmaker, and her film, John Lewis, Good Trouble, premieres in theaters this spring. Thank you, Dawn Porter, for a fantastic article with the hopes and prayers that Black History Month is not just celebrated in February, but all year long, and calling it Black History Year as we celebrate the many others not so famous for their reputable contributions to the community and to the world. We'll be back with another look at our third article of the day of why Black History Month is more important than ever. And then I'm hoping that David St. Dennis and Benjamin will come on and talk about the new rules for tomorrow's 3000 Hangout Awards. That should be in about 15 minutes. We should see them, or towards the end of this program. They said they were going to come on and talk about it, and I would quickly go bye-bye, is the way we say. All right, we'll be right back with more of DMS 3000 news right after this.
A double pleasure's waiting for you. A double pleasure from Double Mint Gum. A double great feeling, making you realize Double Mint's the one for you. Double fresh, double smooth, double delicious to chew. A double pleasure is waiting for you. Double Mint Gum. A double pleasure is waiting for you. Double Mint Gum.
Oh, I'd do anything to get Fruity Pebbles with new grape flavor.
Big Rock Jones?
Tastes fruity-licious.
Honey!
Time to make my grape escape.
Post Fruity Pebbles cereal now with grape flavor. Part of this nutritious breakfast.
You can take an alphabet bite when danger's in sight. You can stop that flippo when you eat the word hippo. H-I-P-P-O.
Way to go!
Post alphabet cereal, a tasty part of this nutritious breakfast.
Monday, it's one of the greatest casts ever assembled. Irwin Allen's all-new, all-star musical extravaganza, Alice in Wonderland. Monday.
Everyone watching can expect to be in a car accident. A safety belt more than doubles your chances of surviving. Please, wear it.
CBS Sports Break, sponsored by imported Heineken beer.
Good evening. Auburn running back Bo Jackson tonight was awarded the Heisman Trophy. In the closest vote in history, Jackson beat Iowa's Chuck Long. Meanwhile, college football's freshman of the year, Jamel Holloway, scored the winning touchdown from 38 yards out as number 4 Oklahoma buried SMU. In Philadelphia, Chuck Smith of the Midshipmen torpedoed his way into the end zone as underdog Navy sank Army. And I'll have more after this.
Why just have a beer when you can have the beer? Heineken, America's #1 imported beer.
Come to think of it, I'll have a Heineken.
While it's important to celebrate Black culture and contributions, it's equally important to acknowledge how society still oppresses and discriminates against Black people. Well, this is why Black History Month is more important than ever. Amari D. Pollard and Sheena Foster, two authors who wrote this article back in 2022, will explain why it's vitally important. To recognize and celebrate Black History Month is to feel the headiness of progress made and the somberness of oppression felt. After the 2020 deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd ignited a global outcry against police-involved murders of Black people, America elected the first Black female vice president, Kamala Harris, and witnessed the swearing in of the most ethnically diverse Congress to date. The Black Lives Matter movement was both slammed as an extremist sect and hailed as a catalyst for change, recently earning a Nobel Peace Prize nomination. As the pendulum swung between race wars and policy change, the pandemic painted yet another picture of racial disparity in the disproportionate number of Black fatalities. The past year has brought to light so many social, economic, and racial issues that have plagued society for far too long. The NAACP wrote in a statement to Reader's Digest, Black History Month is a critical inflection, a point for us to call to remembrance our collective history and inform our present and future. Social activist Dr. Bernice King, daughter of the late Martin Luther King Jr., agrees that this month marks a crucial crossroads. I think we're not in a moment, she told Good Morning America on February 1st. We're in a revolution. Where we're going to see massive change and transformation in our society. Past and present, progression and regression. Black History Month is a hotbed of dualities. So, while February should be a time to salute Black excellence, it should also be a time to recognize the discrimination Black people continue to face and the work that needs to be done in order to achieve true equality. In fact, Black History Month should really just last all year. Whether in a good pre-pandemic economy or now, during the worst recession since the Great Depression, the racial wealth gap persists and is mostly fueled by the racial income gap, upon which the pandemic has poured gasoline. A Harvard University analysis of the U.S. Census Bureau's Pulse study found that 53% of Black households suffered an income loss early on in the pandemic. And those who kept their jobs through the pandemic weren't without strife. The Economic Policy Institute reported in 2018 that Black men were paid 69.70 cents on the white male dollar, and Black women earned only $60.80 on the white male dollar. Wow. So, to make matters even worse, the Institute's 2018 State of Working American Wages report revealed that the wages of white workers have been growing at a much faster rate than those of Black workers since 2000. As a result, white households have, on average, nearly 6.5 times the wealth of Black households. And although slavery and redlining, a practice that denies services to whole neighborhoods on the basis of racial or ethnicity, per Investopedia, can be labeled as the initial conditions that created wealth disparity, research from the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, and that asserts that income inequality is what continues to drive the racial wealth gap. Here are more statistics that show the undeniable reality of structural racism in America. Black people face a poverty rate of 21.2%, more than twice the rate of white people, with 9 million Black people living in poverty in 2017. Neither the poverty rate nor the number of Black people living in poverty was different from the year prior. The Brookings Institute cites inequalities in education, workplace discrimination, and high incarceration rates as some of the reasons for Black poverty. When there are still policies that implicitly and explicitly discriminate against Black people, climbing the economic ladder is a tremendous feat. So it's almost been 7 years since the water crisis in Flint, Michigan began, and in 2014, the city's water source was switched to the untreated Flint River, exposing Flint residents to dangerous levels of lead and Legionnaire's disease, and locals are still suffering. And while recent test results have shown lead levels in Flint's water, 4 parts per billion, that are below the federal action level of 15 parts per billion, it's still recommended that residents use filters as pipes continue to be replaced. The Flint water crisis has left children with cognitive and behavioral development issues as a result of lead poisoning, and residents remain skeptical of government officials who previously manipulated test results. Finally, there has been a reckoning. In August, residents won a $600 million class action lawsuit, and in January, 9 former Michigan officials, including former Governor Rick Schneider, were slapped with criminal charges. But the fact that the crisis happened in a mostly Black city with about 40% living below the poverty line is a result of neglect and environmental racism. A 2019 study from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that about 1 in 1,000 Black men and boys can expect to be killed as a result of police violence. That risk is about 2.5 times higher than for their white peers, while Black women are 1.4 times as likely to die at the hands of police as white women. And while making up only 13% of the U.S. population, black people accounted for 31% of police killings in 2012, and 39% of them were killed by police while not attacking. When considering the American criminal justice system as a whole, the disparities in police enforcement become even starker. Black people are more likely to be arrested for drugs, even though they're not more likely to use or sell them. Plus, black people make up 37.5% of the prison population. Again, despite only making up around 13% of the nation's population. Here's more on what systemic racism actually means. And this article has a lot of statistics. And as I continue to look at this article, I'm kind of perplexed as to why they think that blacks are suffering at the hands of the white person. Folks, think about this. You're living in your neighborhood, and I'm only going to say this. You're living in your neighborhood, and you come to the conclusion that at some point in your life, you have to realize that if the heads of banks, schools, libraries, your very boss is an African American or a black person, think about how hard they worked to get to where they were. And if you have a good relationship with them, then where is the racism? Where is that? There is none. If you work together to get the job done, regardless of your color, your race, your creed, and we're all human beings in this. I don't think this article completely spells it out why Black History Month is so important. I think it's putting down the more towards what blacks are suffering from. Folks, we all suffer from something. And whether it's racial discrimination or profiling or all this other stuff, I say it's a bunch of hogwash. We just need to continue to respect each other. And if somebody says, leave me alone, leave them alone. Stop your hatred and move on. Because if you don't, you're going to get your butt handed to you. That person will do whatever it takes to stand up for what they believe in. And if you hate them because of color, race, creed, or anything that stops them from having the same rights as you, it's going to be all hell break loose. And all I can say is, you asked for it. And unfortunately, you're going to get it. To my black friends out there, I appreciate you. I respect you. I applaud your efforts of how hard you work every day to go about, to make a living, to provide for your family, and to have inner peace at the same time. I can tell you right now, I was never brought up as a racial prejudice person, although I have been accused of it. And again, I say during this month, I am proud to be part of celebrating this Black History Month with you and showing you all the accomplishments that the African American and, of course, anyone who is of the black race has done. And we continue to do that. Thank you very much. And now, on to the David 3000 Awards and the two gentlemen who will take on and give you the rules of it. Here is David St. Dennis, the CEO of David 3000 Network, and his partner, Ben Wilner. Take it away, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jason, for that one. And welcome to the segment Ben here today. You were on here last week, and
Yes.
I just want to give the new update information to everybody here about what we have as for what we came up with. I believe it was.
Do you want me to send you
last
what
night.
I wrote, or do you want me to just read it off?
Read it off, yeah.
Okay, I'll just read it off. Thank you all. It's good to see everybody. Good to see David right here. Excited for tomorrow's Children 3000 Awards 2023. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to it, especially us. So be on the lookout for that. I'm not sure if my camera's going to go off when reading the rules. So is that okay? Does it go off?
All I see is a black screen, but
Just a
you
black
can,
screen. Okay,
yeah,
then I'll just read the rules carefully. Then,
yeah.
so I released the rules this morning. So the first rule: no trolling. Um, we've had trolls on streams in the past, and if any trolls appear, any spams on the show, or anyone pretending to be someone else, David or one of the moderators of his channel will remove that troll from the live chat. I am a moderator, but I won't be able to view the live chat during the presentation. So that's the first rule.
Since I've on StreamYard right here on the right of me, I'll be able to see it. So
Yes, David will be able to see it since he's on the show. Second rule, do not publicly post or give opinions on the nominations or winners. What I mean by that, do not comment in the live chat or make any posts stating things like, I should have won this award, or I didn't get votes for this particular award. How did this person get nominated over this person or me? No, I blah, 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 blah. Like, these posts, what you say, make you look like an idiot and selfish too. We learned this from last year. If anyone makes public posts like this, you'll be out of the ballots for next year's ceremony.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Rule number 3, this award show is something not to be taken seriously. It's just a fictional award show that we do for fun. It's not like the Oscars, Emmys, etc. You know, the Grammys, and their political bowl. So, with that being said, have fun and no politics.
Yep.
Rule number 4. Please be polite and respectful to everyone on the show, including the winners and everybody in the live chat.
Mm-hmm.
And the final rule, after we announce the winners and the slideshow's over, if you want an award and we have time, you can come onto the stream and give your acceptance speech, no more than 2 minutes. Afterwards, you can stay on the stream for the remainder of the show if you want. If you're not able to attend the show, feel free to make an acceptance speech via recording, written written and posted onto like social media platforms like the Facebook groups, Discord, or whatever other social media platform you use. No more than 2 minutes if recorded. Our goal
Yep.
is to, yes. Our goal is to make the show 2 hours long. So me and David will be the main hosts of the show. We'll be running the show, and we'll be the only ones during the presentation portion of the awards. If it goes over time, 2.5 hours is the maximum of time we're gonna run for the show. So those are all the rules.
Yep. And want to like to give out the information why we decide to do it the way where we wanted to make it 2 hours at the very least. Same with doing the presentations first and then letting guests on. Would like to explain
Yeah.
why.
So our goal is to make the presentation quickly, and then if we have time, we'll do the acceptance speeches from people who want to come in.
Yeah, and because last time the show went. You remember exactly how long? Like, was it
I
3
think
hours?
I think it went almost 4 hours based on the times, because one was like one part of it was an hour and 59 minutes, and the other part was an hour and 34 minutes. So it was around like 3.5, almost 4 hours. So the goal is to not go that far. Like 2 hours is enough. 2.5 hours is the maximum.
Yep.
So that's our goal this year.
Let me just do this right here. So to let everybody know the rules, do a recap. Rule number 1, no trolling.
No
Rule
trolling.
number 2, do not give any public opinions. Rule number 3, have fun, no politics. Rule number 4, be respectful. And of course, rule number 5, after the winners, if you want an award and if you have time, you can come on the stream as a guest. And because we gladly had a lot of guests on this past year, well, like I said, it dragged on the presentation,
Yeah, it
so
did.
we want to uh, go through it, quickly as we could, and so that way we don't have to go over time. So
Exactly.
8 p.m. Eastern time this Friday for the first episode of Church Tassinos 2024, which is going to be the awards program, and of course, for the interviews that I filmed that about the end of last year, though the two interviews that I filmed last year that I have not yet aired, I will have that be up this month. And new interviews will probably start approximately by the end of this month or in March. Because, like I said, I don't want to overwork myself with all of the big projects I'm doing. Because next time football just got done, and that was a lot of work doing price strike tapings. It was a lot of work. This project in general, the awards program, this a lot of work. After this week, I'm going to try to do the best I can to be laid back as much as possible and only do game show tapings at least once a week on my part, and so that way I can have the weekend to myself and not that good stuff. So, Jason, I wanted to be on here. What is your thoughts about what we talked about tonight?
Yeah. Well, that was great, gentlemen. Thank you. I think it's a great rule of layout that you guys have. I totally agree with that. I'm not going to, give my opinion on it because if you guys are hosting it, I'm just going to watch just like everybody else. And I wish everybody the best of luck. There are no losers in this community of ours. They're all winners. I appreciate the support that you guys have given to not just myself, but to everybody who has taken the time out of their busy schedule to put on some fantastic shows, not only on the David 3000 network, but on FVG Productions and the 25 channel as well. So we thank all of those people, even Bofas on the Sofas, because there's nominations for that as well, too.
Rant and Rave 2 and
Rave.
Pop Channel, so many others.
So many shows up there that we could not name them as possible, but you know who you are. You know where you're going with this. Some people who have won from last year are now not been able to win this year, except with some exceptions. You were mentioning Benjamin.
Yes, both us, Rant and Rave, and Popcorn Panel hosting categories are the only exceptions. So
yeah. Other than that, everybody else has a pretty much good fair shot of trying to win this year without having some repeats. I asked you all this about this last week, Benjamin.
Yes.
Yeah, you told me about that, and I was like, "That's good," considering. But I myself, considering the fact that I've only been with the channel maybe less now a whole year, I'm still classified as a rookie going into this awards program. Now I'm officially taking second year status.
Yes.
Rookie after awards.
Technically, I guess you're part of my network and those success here, but of course, you have been you made appearances on my channel like back in 2021 one time with Tom and Eric. I don't know if we ever did a stream in 2020.
What was it?
Well, I was just trying to think of the times he was on here in the past years, but so. Jason, do you have any other questions about our awards program Friday that you may have?
No, I think if you just kind of take a very slow and steady pace, you should get that 2 hours in. If you realize you're either going to not make the 2 hour limit, or you got to watch your time. You definitely have to watch your time. I mean, we watch our time.
Yeah.
We've narrowed it down to an hour and a half. We used to be a 2 hour program, but I realized that some articles are short, some articles are long. And this last article that I had just read before you guys got on was way too long, and I think way too.
Yeah.
It was just
you may want to get the articles more prepared before the shows. Like for example, study the practice studying the articles.
To answer your question, David, I did look at this third article, and what I was scrolling down to, it was not making any sense. It seemed like it was putting the Black community down, and I don't want that. Especially since we're really looking at Black History Month as a positive for the not just for the Black community, but for the all community, to honor all of these people who have taken their time and commitment to and a struggle for them to bring about
You
change.
didn't realize that article was going to be like that when you first saw it.
Yeah, I read some of it and I'm thinking this is all statistical stuff, and I just stopped it there and noticed that you guys come on, and I'm like, okay, cut it on that halfway point. And usually I don't cut out articles like that. You'll what you see is what you'll have there, and even though I was not going to continue reading on that article, it's because I think the article was just going more towards the negative side of it, of how they were getting discriminated against.
And we don't want that here. So
yeah,
we don't want that here.
I feel as though that articles like that should be more. I think, like you said, this was written almost 2 years ago during the time when George Floyd got shot, got killed, and they were, aggressively getting all that stuff in as far as with the pandemic and everything else, and saying that Black people are still struggling to this day. Look, we all struggle in some way, shape, or form, regardless of our color. We're all going to struggle and suffer in some ways. We have our ups, we have our downs. And I look at the world as if you want it, go for it. Who's to stop you? I'm not going to stop you. I'm trying to run my own race, my own journey, my own life path. So in this case, that's why I looked at that article. I was like, I would have stopped that and bring these two guys on.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, thank you for coming, Ben. I'm going to do the motivation of the day now. So
no problem. Thank you for having me. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Benjamin. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Ciao.
Yeah.
Ciao. All right. Are you? I'm going to do the daily motivator. So, you anything else you have to add on?
Nope. But I'll be backstage and talk to you when you're done. So.
All right. We'll go ahead and take care of that and go right now to the daily motivator, which for today for February 1st, 2024. Of course, Ralph Marston is our author. Fantastic, positive messages. And today's title is More Beautiful. There's some neglected little corner of your life that's gotten kind of dingy. Maybe today you could make it beautiful. Imagine the sense of purpose you'll experience in the process. Think of the satisfaction you'll carry with you long afterwards. At any time, in some way, you are able to make a tangible improvement in your world. That's something you can prove again and again to yourself and to others with a modicum of focused effort. Doing so will activate creativity, boost confidence, inspire, and energize you. There's something about participating in beauty that resonates deeply and positively. Consider what could benefit from your care, your attention to detail, your choice to do what's good and right just because you can. And notice how nice the enthusiasm feels when you think along those lines. Transform that enthusiasm into action and make some particular part of your life more beautiful. It's an excellent use of your time that you'll long remember and never forget. Thank you, Ralph Marston, for that wonderful, positive message. And that's the end of our show today. We're grateful for you to be part of this great family of networks here on YouTube and, of course, on StreamYard. And we thank you again from the bottom of all of our hearts. Join us tomorrow night for that beautiful Ward show that's going to be on here with David and Benjamin. They're going to do their best to take care of everything and make it a great show. So do tune in because it's worth everybody's while to see who wins these awards and who gets nominated. And, well, we were all nominated, so we all feel like winners, right? All right. Well, I'm Jason DeCanio. Thanking you again for another great show here on David 3000 Network. DMS 3000 News is seen daily here at 4 o'clock to 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday. And we hope that you will join us tomorrow for more great articles pertaining to Black History Month. And some of the things next week we'll be talking about are narcissism and psycho and sociopaths. We're going to give you that hard look at that terrible thing that turns people into some monstrous creatures. And unfortunately, like I said, we delve into hard facts here. We want you to realize that it's important to keep very aware of things in your field of vision and in your neighborhood as well. Communities come together to unite. United we stand, divided we fall. Good night from all of us here at the David 3000 Network and DMS 3000 News. I'm Jason DeCanio. Bye for now.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Gary Dawson Network for more great content like this one.